Welcome to my daily practice at Wendy Coad Art. If you find this video interesting or helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking the video.
Hi, my name is Wendy and I'm an artist. I've been an artist my whole life and I am excited to invite you into my studio and show you my art practice. I paint every day and I do acrylic on paper. I also do stencils. I draw. I organize my studio space. I do a lot of things. For me, art is about problem solving, so there's always little tricks and tools that I can share with you along the way. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, it's Wendy and welcome to my studio. I'm going to continue with some of these paintings. The ones I'm continuing with are not these, and these. And I'm not sure about these two, but there's plenty of time to decide that. And I'm still just in love with the ones on the back wall. So these paintings that I'm still referring to as my Turner paintings may stay the way they are, just because I can do that. I don't have to decide. But I can also turn them over and work on this side, which I'm going to do today. Every day is different in the studio. Okay, I think that's covered it. I also took some of the paintings down and stored them. I have one here. I have one that I go back and forth with. It's this one here. I'm not sure you can even see that. And, well, you know, it's down, so I guess I decided not to do any more work on it. Kind of like it too. I mean, of course, not kind of, I really do like it, but I forgot to roll it up with the rest of them. Maybe I'll do that now. When rolling works of acrylic or other materials, I choose to roll the paint side out. And rolling the paint side out stretches the, acrylic's plastic, so it stretches the medium. And I think this is true for oil painting as well. If you roll it in and you have it stored rolled for any length of time, then when you unroll it, you know, the inside, it rolled in, will allow for the paint to shrink whatever amount that it shrinks. And then when you unroll it, it can crack. Acrylic, not so much because of its plasticity. But old habits die hard, so I roll them out. And I'm going to put this in with the other rolled works. These are the long ones. You know, I ask myself what I was thinking, because when I did these long panels, because it's impossible for me to store them flat at this moment in time. So I have to store them rolled. It's not my first choice. And I still have works on the go here. These are done, putting them aside. And also my stencils for the moment. Um, I had a friend over yesterday, so I took out the works that I had done on um, on the map paper, and I think I've mentioned that I've wanted to, put the pages back together. So painting on one full page, but when the map is reconstructed, or the atlas is reconstructed, then we have um, different paintings on each side, which was what I was hoping would look as it does now. Kind of interesting to see the juxtaposition of the different uh, sides. And so I can still do some work. I mean, this is now like a journal or like a booklet. If I wanted to draw, I could still do that, but I'm going to sit with them for a little while and just put them back where they need to go. And get started on the painting. So, I'm going to start with a small squeegee because I want to have some blocks of color. So I just put a line down as opposed to the various colors, and just start. That's quite intense, but it'll dry however it dries, meaning it will tone down a bit or not. Squeegee isn't working as well as the ones that I had before, and this paint needs to be shaken, not stirred. It's hard to get the right viscosity every time. This got a little bit less viscous, so the paint is a little bit harder to manage, but not so bad. Actually, it did some interesting things with mixing. So let me see. This is how I get the paint to kind of come down a little bit further on the squeegee and create some different tones and lines. Let's make sure I get all the paint that I want to get on. Okay, well, I'm going to abandon this squeegee because it's not working quite the way I wanted it to. I mean, it works as a squeegee, but it has a little bit of a bow in it, and and I just see the paint is starting to roll off the edges. So changing tactics here. And I want something darker, deeper for those two. So, when in doubt, my go-to is turquoise. Well, I have about half a dozen colors. Turquoise is a good one. Take a deep breath. I'm looking at the center, I'm looking at the edges. I'm looking at the center, I'm looking at the edges. It's very easy to put everything in the center, and of course that's where you want the eye to focus eventually. Um, but edges are important too. Well, I'll just get started and see how it goes. I think I mentioned before, I always think of painting as problem solving. As soon as you put down a color or a shape or a line, you have to start the conversation with all the other shapes and colors and lines, and that's a problem to solve. So created some problems here. Now I'm going to try to solve them. And it doesn't all get solved in one day. So here we go. Well, that's nice. I just added a little bit of white, and it really toned down the intensity of the turquoise. I suppose I could have done that on this side. And I can still do that. In some other places. Overlap this one a little bit so it feels a little more integrated into the surface, but there's a lot of work needs to be done there. And I do like the way this is mixing and creating less of a narrow shape and more of a kind of a rectangular shape or square. When I get a color in a kind of a line that I like, I do tend to work it through multiple paintings. So I'm going to continue on that theme, working it through multiple paintings. Oops. giving the surface a texture. Come back in with other shapes and lines, but mediating between the text and the paint. Right up. Kind of wish I'd started on this one here. Not just sure if I've taken enough out. I'm gonna sort of caution to the wind and just go back in. I can see where there needs to be a little bit of integration on the edges here. There's maybe a tendency to keep scraping on areas that are already a little bit compromised with the density or the amount of paint versus the other areas that are open. So it's a real balancing act, a real struggle determining which way to go. And sometimes I just have to try both directions, go in, make it denser, introduce some more elements, or back out. And I'm always going to leave some areas, of contrast. So some open areas and more areas of more density. Yeah, well, I think this is improving in the way that I would like it to go. So I'm going to stay with that for now. I can create just lines randomly. And I can do the lines over shapes. Let's put one in there. All right, time to wait for the paint to dry. And I'll clean off those brushes as well. Brushes, squeegees. So thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have you visit my studio, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next tape.